Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the Hartland Selectboard meeting on Monday, January 22nd. It's 5:35-ish. First order of business for us are the select board minutes from January 2nd. We have 2 minutes. We have the regular meeting and an executive session. I would entertain a motion to accept both of them.
So moved.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Jim. Any discussion?
Yes, somebody's name was missing from it, I believe.
Sure.
Tom's name was missing from the minutes.
No, it was there under Zoom. With attendance under Zoom.
Oh, these are for the.
Yeah, others
It
present.
had to be the second for that COVID.
January 16th, regular meeting, it looks like his name
He's
may be
missing,
missing.
yeah.
Oh, January 16th, I'm sorry. What the hell was I reading today?
But the executive session,
So were you here for the meeting or was it with?
One meeting, I wasn't here because of COVID.
Yeah, you missed the second.
You were online.
I was online.
You were
on
online,
Zoom.
yeah. But you were here on the 16th.
I was. Yes,
Cheyenne was
that was last week. I was here last
Yes.
week.
on.
Cheyenne was online.
The famous last week meeting. Gotcha. Okay, so do we have it straight? Who's here and who wasn't here? Okay. I didn't have any other changes. Reset. Tom, reset. Okay. Yep. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. We don't have orders, just in the weekly aspect of this. I don't have any adjustments to the agenda. Just anyone? Okay. Good. Are there any public comments? Anything online?
Nope, I have nothing online.
Okay, being on a roll, let's move on to all business for on the conservation of the Pohl property. Since our last meeting, I reached back out to Peg Marin's and at the time there were no additional updates. Rob has taken the first steps in creating a community meeting with on the topic. Dates to be determined and so on the part. Thank you, Rob. Is there any other discussion of the article? We should probably read the article because
Can we just do that under when we do all of them?
well, this is a specific discussion and we clarify the article. From what was written the last time.
Yeah, and I made more changes to it.
Yep. Article 9 reads, shall the town vote to use monies from the capital reserve fund up to 150,000? Oops, that's for the lights. I'm sorry. Article 10, shall the town vote to direct the select board to make available up to $100,000 from the capital reserve fund toward the possible purchase and conservation of the Pohl property? Okay. I think that the difference is we would not move it into the Conservation Commission Trust Fund, rather keep it in the capital reserve and use it directly, should it be needed. Any discussion on it?
Is that what you're suggesting will be Article 10?
10.
So I wrote, shall the town vote to direct the select board to make available up to $100,000 from the capital reserve fund to assist with the possible purchase of land and conservation easements of the Pohl property by the Upper Valley Land Trust.
Okay. I'm comfortable with that. Also, is there any vagueness that should we only be asked for 50,000? Should their capital campaign work that we only spend 50,000? Do we have to say that?
I mean,
Is that a given?
I think the up
Up to,
Up to, okay.
The only question I would have is, do we need to put any other caveat in there, like, in terms of reviewing, like, having a satisfactory contract in place? Do we need to protect ourselves if the proposal changes shape?
Yeah. I mean, this doesn't refer to any of the easements or the language of the easements, which may, some of which may allow Hartland as the municipal entity to actually use some of the land for its own purposes.
Right.
I don't think we want to put that.
You don't want to make it too complicated.
Correct.
what if we put after available up to $100,000, subject to town attorney's review from the blah, blah, blah? If we're concerned about something?
I would think that would
But, I mean, yeah, we would do the town attorney's review anyway. I don't know how to write it. I just feel like we need to protect ourselves if we think it's not a good deal later on. And I don't know exactly how you do that. Maybe it's fine because it has the word possible in there.
I think also there's going to be a considerable amount of discussion with this at town meeting.
Yeah.
So there'll be the legislative intent during that thing, so we could use the minutes from the town meeting, and we can get into a little bit more detail. Articles are difficult to sort of hash it all out, but I think during town meeting, I think we could get into a little bit more depth.
Mhm.
And the whole thing.
Does that make,
Yeah, it makes sense. Yep,
You know.
yep. Put the article out, we'll send it to the lawyer, we'll make sure the article looks right for March 5th, and then,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, and the whole project is still tentative. I mean,
Right.
it's an intent, like,
right.
right.
and I hope. Rob, you had a.
Well, I was just gonna say, the way you've worded it already, this is setting it aside toward the possible purchase of conservation easement.
Right.
I think that gives you enough wiggle room that you don't need to put a lot of, here are the conditions, because you'll do that anyway, when the time comes to take the money out. If you don't feel like it's a deal you want to get into, you don't have to do it.
Right.
Right, this doesn't commit you to spending that $100,000. This is just toward the possible purchase.
Do you have any comments at all, or?
I'm just wondering how much wiggle room that there should be. I mean, there's an intent, and so I know it's still vague enough of what's happening with the property and the whole piece and process that comes together. So I guess that it still has to be up to the town to decide if it's a good fit for the town.
Right, and we're not looking at, even if at the time of agreements, we'll actually see an agreement. So until we see that, we don't really know what we're, I think this is a hypothetical that, and intent. Okay.
Right, yeah, I would just hope the town would support it if all the pieces do come in.
Yeah.
And the voters have assumably okayed the funds to be transferred.
Yeah, I think this is the first step.
I think given the discussion, and that this discussion is on record. I think at least we know what our intent is. Right?
Yes.
Our intent is to do it as long as it's the right thing for the town at the time.
Right, right, yeah. Okay, if there's no additional discussion, why don't we go on to, we do have another item before the
Can I just
approving
say
the
one
articles.
thing regarding this?
I'm sorry.
Just a brief, I just want to thank the select board for all the time that you've put into considering this. It really is appreciated that you have been willing to, as I guess I said last week, throw that stone into the brook so that we can take the next step
Mhm.
and continue the process forward. Because without your help and support, then it probably, it might not.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, and I do hope we have our town citizens show up for this. I was extremely disappointed when the planning commission presented their the planning survey results. There were 6 of us in the audience. I don't think there was anyone on Zoom. Maybe there were, but okay. Okay, let's go on to the town manager job description. Jim, thank you for taking our comments from last time. Hopefully everyone has had a chance to look over the new version.
Yeah, I'm sure you probably saw the email. VLCT took a look at it. And it
Yeah.
had one minor change.
Yeah, I was sorry to see that Jill.
I know, that's a shame.
Feel like we should send her a retirement gift after all the work that she did for us last summer. Okay,
So I make a motion for discussion purposes, I make a motion that we approve the town manager job description.
Second.
can we say, include the date, please? It would be today's date, January 22nd.
January 22nd, 2024.
Okay. Good. Any discussion?
I didn't have any, I was okay with the edits.
All in favor, say aye.
Applied.
Do you say, yeah, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Aye.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mark, I'll send you a PDF of this as well as an editable copy, so you can keep it for the records and put a copy in the town manager's personnel file.
I definitely will. Thank you, Jim.
Okay, we have the date on it, which is good. Okay, moving on to new business. We have the articles for town meeting. I think I would like to maybe just, well, we need a motion to start the discussion. Can we just have the discussion?
Yes, just have a discussion.
Okay. I have a motion to accept the articles for the town meeting on the warning for town meeting of March 5th. Tom?
Yeah, I'll make them, I'll second that motion.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Any discussion?
First paragraph, why do we put in the forenoon? Is that an old English
I
thing or?
guess we just copied from previous. I don't know. not
Really, does
necessarily
anybody, I
correct.
mean, I actually looked it up. So it means before noon. So why do we have that in there?
Couldn't tell
The
you.
King's English or what are we doing here?
I kind of like it. It's up to you guys.
I just like
I'll support
clarity.
whatever
I like
comes.
clarity in writing, you know, and it's just,
So you probably don't like Masterpiece Theater.
no, I said writing.
Yeah, Clyde, you've corrected me once or twice when I've asked about wording and, but I don't know if there's any statute
Well,
in
I don't know about statute, but I know some of the oaths that the clerk has to administer that come from the state have a date end in the forenoon or in the afternoon.
there. Okay.
Yep,
All right,
Okay.
so we probably should leave it.
it's probably a holdover from,
Sorry, Tom.
I'm always getting, I don't know why.
A few years ago.
In the school article, school just has a one article, is that right, their budget? That's separate.
No, I think, I haven't looked at it. Michelle's been taking care of that. I don't know how many articles they have this year. Last year they had 4. I don't know how many they have this year.
Didn't even look at it yet.
But it's a separate,
It's totally separate. Yes,
Oh, yeah,
yep, they're on their own. Yep,
yeah.
it's already signed and submitted to be printed.
It's on the wall upstairs.
Yes.
Okay, the one item that, well, there's 2 items in here that we've inserted that are different. Article 2 would be the fire department, which we have done. Article 3 is for us cleaning up the old Lister Education Restricted Fund. And we're going to move that to the reappraisal fund, which we already talked about. That's pretty.
But we already have that, right?
Yes.
yeah,
So because when we say to fund, it sounds like we're just starting to fund the reappraisal. So I struck out the
yeah,
fund,
you could strike that word.
Strike out
fund, and
Oh,
just say
oh, just
to the,
to the.
it's
yes,
already
yep,
established.
Yes, you're correct. Yep.
It makes
okay,
it sound like it's not established.
correct.
Did I get one?
You got one.
You accepted it, added a mine. I'm out of here.
Drop the mic.
I'm getting my thesaurus out to get another word to. Okay, then Article 4, shall the town authorize the deposit of 1,879 from the Act 200 planning fund to the cemetery fund? So again, is that clear? And is there a fund for the cemetery?
Yes, there is. There is.
Okay.
I was confused. Sorry about that, Jim.
Okay,
Yes, there is.
okay.
the Act 200 money goes back to Madeline Cunin days.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
She
That's
got
1989, 1990?
It's definitely in the footnote. Okay, and then there are 2 articles that are more or less appropriations, but the Ottacocha Health Foundation, I believe, has requested from us before, and
Yes.
they've raised their,
They've doubled the amount they requested.
And they did their signatures.
Yes, everything's all legal and legit.
okay.
Do we know, is that done on a per capita basis, or
I don't
you
know.
have no
I
idea?
think they're just looking for just more funds.
Mhm.
I think they're getting busier than they anticipated.
Yeah, and I know there'll be representatives here, because I've heard discussion about it. I can't tell you what the increase is.
Right.
Article 6 is first time that the Hartland Community Arts has been requesting an appropriation, $2,000.
And they did their signatures as well.
Yep, they're all, yep, the only reason they're on here, everything on this sheet of paper is on the up and up.
So if they get funded, say these 2 they're on distinct articles, they got funded this year, do they then go to Article 7? If
Yes,
that's how that works,
Yes.
right?
With
Unless
those
they-
amounts.
right. With those amounts, if they wanted an increase over those for next year, they'd go to their own
Okay.
separate article
Okay,
again.
got it. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
In Article 7, everything there is in perpetuity at this point.
That's correct.
But do all these organizations submit a request for funding?
So we reach out to all these organizations in late August, early September. We tell them they have to October 15th to tell us what their intentions are, and we go from there.
Okay.
What is the sum, Martin, of Article 7, do you know?
I do not. I know the total sum of everything, if it goes through, is $187,000.
And
Does that include Articles 5 and 6?
Yes, it does.
So.
Was that-
2, 5, 6, 7, or is the fire department something?
That includes everything. That includes Article 2. It includes Article 4, on Article 5, 6, and 7. And Article, no, that's it.
So is that included in the figure for the amount to be raised by taxes?
It is not. It is not. So if they approve the budget the way it stands for $3,679,000, they approve the appropriations, it gets added together.
So the 2.967 will go up by the amount.
That's correct.
You won't know that number until
Till we,
get down through Article 7.
correct.
Actually, through Article 9. You really don't know the total,
Right,
total
exactly.
expenditure.
Right, yep.
9 and 10 are not going to increment taxes
That's
next
true,
year.
that's true.
So, Martin, just from a lack of accounting experience, when we look at Article 8 and we have the budget and then how much is coming from taxes, and we're talking about the projected 187,
Yes,
would that be added to both numbers? If we were just reading it after the fact?
yes,
Yes, okay,
yes.
okay. Okay, Article 8, we started discussion on already. Martin?
I just thought we could strike total. Shall the voters authorize general highway, I don't know, I mean,
Yeah, take total out.
yeah,
Yep, we can do that.
Because the figure is going to come up different at the meeting.
right.
Right, yes, yep.
Well, I thought you found that was,
I think it just changed total to CHA.
That's right.
okay, which total are we talking about?
Article 8, the introductory phrase of shall the voters authorize the general fund and highway fund expenditures of.
I'm sorry, I was thinking the total was the 3 million therefore number. So you're just saying the word,
Well, we don't know what that number is going to be.
yep, okay,
If all the gimmies pass, it's going to go up.
It
right.
certainly is.
Yes, it is.
okay. Article 9,
Again, I have some change, so I wrote, you don't have to write it, let me just say it first. Shall the town vote to use funds from the capital reserve fund up to $150,000 for the purchase and installation of lights for the Three Corners intersection project? And then it was, any grant monies received for this project will be returned to the capital reserve fund. I just thought we should have a little more clarity as far as what we're using that money for.
Cheyenne, will you call this with Cheyenne when we're done, just to make sure she's got.
Does that sound okay to people?
Yeah, you're not changing the context. Right?
I'm not changing, I'm just trying to give it a little bit more clarity.
Yep. Would you email that to me?
No,
Okay, thank you.
you,
Yeah, as soon as he signs the minutes from October.
I mean,
We'll get to it in June.
you know, my office, if we don't get paid within 60 days, we have trouble, you know? And so I haven't seen a check since March.
Mr. Kennedy, you got a free parking space tonight.
Yeah.
No,
you
I
agree.
didn't, I had it illegally parked in the handicap parking. Okay, anyways.
Okay. Can you get the constable here, please?
It's being
Actually,
told as we
that
speak.
that is a lie. Thank you.
I do want to make a comment about the lights. I made a field trip to White River on Friday, but let's go on.
Okay.
Stay on topic here. Article 10, we just talked about earlier. Is there any additional wordsmithing at all there?
Would you read that again, what you said, please?
Would you want me to do it over?
Yes, please.
shall the town vote to direct the select board to make available up to $100,000 from the capital reserve fund to assist with the possible purchase and conservation easements of the Pohl property by the Upper Valley Land Trust. I'll just email this.
Yeah, yeah, I like the to assist because that does imply that there's other
Right.
monies coming. And
Yeah.
then you.
And then I also think we
Who the
make it
partners.
clear that we're not going to be the owners of the property at this juncture.
Yeah,
right?
at least at the jump.
It's going to be the Upper Valley Land
Yeah.
Trust.
Okay,
That possible purchase and conservation, it doesn't read particularly not well, but assist with the possible land purchase and
acquisition.
purchase
and
of
conservation.
land. Okay, how about possible purchase of land and conservation easements of the pole? So it would be the purchase of land and conservation easements, right? Or are they purchasing just all the land?
No, they're not.
Yeah, so let me reread it then. Shall the town vote to direct the select board to make available up to $100,000 from the capital reserve fund to assist with the possible purchase of land and conservation easements of the Pohl property by the Upper Valley Land Trust?
Okay.
Here's one together, or do,
Both of us, if you would, please.
you know, if I have her.
I'll forward it to. That's me.
So any other discussion?
I would just suggest an amendment to the motion to say that Tom is gonna send new text for Articles 9 and 10.
3, three was just one word, so we don't need
Yep.
that.
8 was one word.
Right, 3 in Article 8 was one word.
Article is one word. Okay.
So just for Articles 10,
10 and 9 and 10.
We have to accept the amendment.
I think Tom,
Would you accept the amendment, Tom?
Yes, I accept the amendment. Thank you.
And are we ready for a vote?
yeah, I just want to throw out a word of caution. I mean, I think the article's fine. I worry about the amount of money here, given everything else that's going on.
I was going to save this for the interim town manager update. Maybe I'll save it, but
That's
I
fine.
do have a request for preparation. Okay. Okay. All in favor of the articles as discussed, say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Town meeting, here we come.
So the last part of the homework is tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday. So I'll send this to the lawyer tomorrow once I get the changes made. I need each of you to come in and sign the article for us.
Okay. So likely toward the end of the week,
Yeah, within the next couple of days.
you'll let us know.
If you can come in by Wednesday, that would be great.
Yeah, just let us know when it's printed and ready to sign.
Yep, it'll be, when Tom sends it to me tomorrow, I'll have it printed. I'll send it to the lawyer.
Okay.
But that's where we can get it to
Yeah,
the
but
printers,
when
hopefully by
you get it
Thursday.
back and you print the copy that you want to sign,
Yep.
just send us an email. and then
Okay.
we'll come in.
All right. You, everybody.
Martin, you're on with the town manager update.
So I didn't put any notes together.
Good.
As Phil was saying, for March 3rd, we're gonna wanna cross our Ts and dot our Is because we're gonna get probably a lot of questions about the budget. The three key pieces of the budget are the policing, the healthcare, and the paving. Those are the three biggest movers of the budget. The policing, the net difference in the policing is about $92,000. The health, this is off the top of my head, I think was around 30,000. And the paving is easy, $40,000.
And you'll have those exact numbers.
Yes.
It won't be-
Yeah, it's gonna be in the mailer. Those exact numbers are in the mailer.
Yeah.
Those are the three key pieces. And inflation, the inflation The lack of materials and trying to find employees to hire has also been just as hard this year as it was in 2020, 2021. So it's really, it sounds like a broken record, and I'm sorry to make it sound like a broken record, but it's pretty much, we're dealing with the same issues.
Okay. This morning during a meeting with Martin, we actually started this conversation of expectations and preparation for the town meeting to make sure that we are clear. We have some meetings between now and then, but I think we need to be clear about what the lighting proposal is. And I'm not sure if that includes maybe a handout or not a handout.
Yeah.
In that part. So that's one category. The second, with the budget, I was curious today and asked Martin if he could create a graph of the growth of the town budget over a period of time, say 10 years, so we can really begin to see what that growth is. And honestly, I don't know. I don't remember year to year.
Right.
I mean, at least the last couple of years, it's been right now at 6%. The last 3 years, right now at 6%, right?
Yep. I got it just about done. I'll have it done in the morning.
Okay. Any surprises?
No, like Jim said, the last 3 years has been the biggest jump. The town budget's jumping like 100,000, under 100 most each year before that.
Okay.
But the school, I haven't been able to nail down yet. I'm still working on that.
All right.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, Martin, you want to talk about school? I don't know if folks know where the school is.
So
at or
the
not.
school's looking at a 15.5% increase this year on their budget. I can't remember the exact number. It's a touch over $11 million this year. Last year it was just under $10 million. They're struggling the same problems that we have: health insurance, staffing, and the CLA isn't helping them.
I don't want to pretend that I understand these numbers, but when I read was there warning or?
Yes, probably their warning.
It sounded like the CLA could add another,
45 cents.
but another, percentage wise, how much more would it add?
I think it said $431 per $100,000.
Let me rephrase the question, because it is really a poor job of asking. Their budget increase is 15.5,
Yes,
but it sounded like the CLA was going to raise that 15.5 to a higher number.
I don't know that answer.
So, and I don't know it either, but it sounded to me like it was 20%.
Nikki said it was $431,000 per $431 per 100,000 on this year's tax bill.
Without the CLA.
It's
It's really hard to trace through what they're trying to.
Yeah, it is. It is. So
So a $400,000 house could see a $1,600 increase in their tax.
that's correct.
Wow.
And then the unclear part is does the CLA add even more money to that number?
Right.
Just for the general public, we're throwing around CLAs, if everyone knows about them, I guess. Could you?
Sure. Yeah. The CLA is common level of appraisal. We're supposed to be at 100%. We did a reappraisal in 1819. We hit the 100% number. And then 2020, houses started selling for way above the common level of appraisal that we had the appraisal done. So the house that was appraised at 200,000 have been selling for 400,000, 500,000, 600,000. So it's taken our 100% CLA and dropped it down to, over the last 3 years, down this point to the 69. Last year we were 80. So last year at this time we were 81. This year we're at 69.
And how does that affect the school budget?
So
Is the state
it's
formula?
yeah, it's a state formula that's in there, and it's hard to pull out the numbers how they put it together, unfortunately.
It's a state effort to make education equitable across the state.
That's correct.
Didn't work.
I think that's, will always be debated. Okay, well, I think just knowing the impact of the school budget and the fact that it's 80-something% of our town budget, it may be an interesting meeting.
It might be 90% of our budget next year.
Okay.
I mean, don't quote me on that, just saying it's gonna go up.
Yeah.
And one thing, I'll come to this when you guys are done with this conversation. There's one other thing I want to get on the table.
Okay.
That's all I got.
All right, so this doesn't necessarily need action. It's just something that's bothering me in the back of my mind. We've got our ARPA surplus,
Yes.
right? We're talking about having it as an unencumbered balance, right? Which means it's kind of out there, I believe, in the general fund,
Right, that's correct.
right? So you're gonna be floating a lot of money out there in the general fund. And if both on taxes, yeah, that money could be demanded to be, be used for lower taxes next year. But I just feel like there's a risk we can lose some of that money if we don't protect it.
Well, we tabled the discussion, so we haven't, I don't think we've ended the discussion.
Well, but we adopted the articles, and if we were gonna put an article in for this, the other option, unencumbered, I think, is one logical option. I think the only other reasonable option is to have an article that says we would like to move our ARPA surplus back to the ARPA fund, the ARPA grant fund. We have a fund sitting there with $247 in it.
I don't think
At least then the money's protected and it's
Yeah.
up to our discretion to spend it on the projects.
I will be spending the money on those projects.
I know, that's the intent.
So the RFP is just about ready for Jennyville. And the RFP for Queechee Road is due at the end of this month. And the buildings, we should have a cost in the next 5 to 7 days. And so the money's gonna be, if we go forward with the construction on the buildings, we can get the RFPs out and.
So, however, the money exists in the general fund today,
Right,
and the voters could demand lower taxes this year,
right.
and
And,
money would be gone.
but as we discussed, it's a double-edged sword, unfortunately.
So I don't want to reopen a closed issue, but
I just think at this juncture, it's too late anyway, so we'll just see what happens with how the budget goes.
Right, yep.
Okay, just an organization note. This is our last meeting in January, even though there's another Monday. So our new town manager is starting on the 5th of February.
Yes, February 5th, 2 weeks from today.
I worked up a little list. John reached out to me to say he had stopped in the office to do paperwork and so on, to meet some of the staff. And he was asking me, so I think what I'd like to do, I'll circulate the topics that I sent to you, and then on the 5th, I want to make sure that we're on board about some of the first things that we'll be asking him to do. I think obviously the first week or two would be more of an orientation
Absolutely.
and getting to know the town a little bit more and getting to know the players. But I just wanted to let you know that I was pleased that he stopped in, got the paperwork done, and he seems enthused.
And when does the mentoring begin with Tom General?
I don't know. I have a call with Tom General Thursday. I was going to ask about is there any more feedback on the RFP for the Queechee Road and also just the policing.
Right, because that's gonna be another big thing if we're raising the budget for policing for the next fiscal year. What's the plan? Somebody at the could say, hey, you want to raise policing, what's the board's plan?
Well,
Do we have proposals in the door?
no, we do not. And I talked to the NRO, and we do not have them all back.
Or do we have any proposals in the door?
The county sheriff?
That'd be the only one, Windsor County. He hasn't sent us a proposal, but he's told me
I
what the
want to be
contract would
careful
be.
about that, because if you notice, Ryan was pressing this last week, and Tom asked that.
So let me rephrase the question. Do we have a written proposal?
No, we do not.
What was the question?
Do we have a written proposal from the Windsor County Sheriff?
Yes, we do.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we're expecting one from Windsor.
And what about the other 2 towns that we talked to?
Hartford reneged right away. I
Okay.
don't know where Woodstock is.
And did we give them a deadline?
I don't know that answer.
He's been trying.
Oh, Tom has, yes.
Yeah, he's been trying. And the other piece that for town meeting that I'm struggling with is the telephone poles in the intersection. I had a meeting with Matt Dunn the other day, and I showed him the note from Rita saying Matt's an obstacle with this, and Matt said didn't know anything about it. And so he was gonna get to Rita. So there's still this finger pointing going on with,
I don't understand that. I thought the only obstacle was the telecoms.
well, that's part of the problem, Jim. You know, when you read Rita's update, you know, she's still sort of saying GMP has a problem here, and
Yeah, Comcast wants a trench dug from the 3 poles down by the hair salon so he can get his wiring straight. And
But isn't there already conduit for Comcast?
no, not in all of those.
not from the hairdresser to the library driveway.
There is a conduit to bring the power
On the inside, it's,
out of the ground by the library back to that pole, because everything can't come up one pole, so it's coming up 2 poles down there. But I think, Martin, what we need to do, and with John, I think, is call a meeting of the players before town meeting, so we have the best explanation.
I don't quite get the explanation. If we had a plan, and the plan was to put conduit in, to run the wires, why is there no conduit?
Because if you recall, the conduit was put in at the 24th hour, not even the 12th hour. The conduit was put in, the emergency conduit was put in wherever would have to cross the road, so no pavement would have to be dug up.
So what happened was, where we wanted conduit, we'd have to change the construction permit. So everything has to stop, you have to change the 411. I got after Derek on the state over and over and said, this makes no sense.
But the original project
Yes,
had a plan to bury telecoms and power.
yes, that's set.
Right. So what about the project has changed
As far as,
that requires additional conduit?
so
Streetlights.
streetlights. You'd have to share a conduit with somebody, and they don't share very well.
So to put the streetlights in, we've got to dig up the project that we just did.
There's no sharing with the streetlights.
No, there's no conduit for a couple of those. So there's no conduit for the lights in the green space.
I don't have, it's the wrong notes.
So we got conduit for the one at the crosswalk here, over by Dunn's. We got that put in as Phil said, the 24th hour.
But the conduit we're talking about is strictly for streetlights. It's not for telecoms or,
We actually have 2 things on the table. So, okay, we have the telephone poles remain. And that's where the skirmish between the various companies is happening for whatever reason. And there is some conduit involved with this discussion that Martin was kind of, which carrier is it? Which meter?
Comcast.
Comcast. Okay. So that's one discussion, to wire the telephone poles still standing, and trying to get clarity over exactly when we can expect them to come down. Okay, the confusing part for me, Jim, is I started talking about conduit for the street lights. Okay, and forgive me for that, but that's the trap I fell into on that part. So, yeah, we need to get the media companies, and I know Rita's been trying, but
Oh, she
we
has.
really need to get back to
Yeah,
it.
yeah. It's probably gonna end up a letter from the board having to go to the PUC about it. Public Utility Commission.
I could be honest with you, I would really struggle to support streetlights until two things happen. One, we get rid of the poles that are supposed to come down, right? And two, we understand whether the streetlight plan involves digging up what we've already done. Because it does, it feels kind of silly.
The streetlight plan would require a ditch in two places, but it's not digging anything up. It's
So no sidewalks, no pit.
no sidewalks, no
No,
pits.
no,
So that was my reference before, what Everett, our on-site person, when it became known that there's no plan for the lights.
Right.
They did a quick engineering sort of work with Dan Peck's group, and all the players, and they put in underground conduit under the roads and under the sidewalks for the street lights, so that it wouldn't, exactly what you're talking would not have to happen. And the only ditch would be like a ditch witch digging along the sidewalk. And one of the proposed locations for the light is the crosswalk by Library Drive. So that needs power to get down there. And that would be, we have Pat Travers from GPI,
yes.
basically looked at it, and he came up with cost proposals for us. I also looked at the solar lights on off Sykes Avenue, the road that if you're going down Sykes Avenue and White River Junction, past the post office and turn right. Mascoma Bank's on one corner, the post office on the other. Going down there, there's some of the solar lights, which we've been told will not be effective. But I wanted to let folks know that they're out there. And I would ask if you it's a combination light, solar collector, battery, and the light at the top.
This looks wonderful.
So can we go back to the poles that haven't been removed? What's the hang up on that?
Telecoms.
Comcast, and I don't know if I don't think First Light has run their cables underground, but I'm not 100% sure on that, because I saw a no-name contractor running wires at one point, and it sounded like it was VTELs from what Rita's response was. I'm not 100% sure, but I think, so Comcast and First Light have not run their wires underground yet.
The same problem we have all over town, where when Fremont moves their wires, we always
The same
have poles like cable.
classes we're worried about on Jennyville Road and that part. Yeah.
But there, outside of a letter to the PUC, we don't really have much leverage here.
We do not, unfortunately.
Trailer truck into one of the poles.
Rita's been after them, because I keep getting after her. And, yeah.
So why are we waiting? Why don't we just have an attorney write a letter first? Instead of waiting a month.
Let's do it.
Do that.
Yeah. because we're gonna end up doing it anyways.
We get some of those plans.
Because what is gonna happen is maybe,
No need of kicking the can down the road.
We get the stamp from the planning commission.
Just make sure you look closely at your electric bills. Jack up your rates. Okay,
So, it's not a topic tonight, but again, is there a scaled back lighting plan that we could do that doesn't require digging and still gets the job done? 11 lights just seems like a pretty aggressive plan when only a
of course,
couple of lights
you
that
know,
came
we
down.
can always potentially scale back. Yeah, 2, 4. You'd be only scaling back by 2.
I mean, but the approach is a lit,
Actually, we would be taking,
the whole light.
there's only one at the, that Miss Clark may say is important, but on the northern end of the walkway, going up north on 5, there's a proposed light near the end of the new sidewalk, or where the new sidewalk meets the old sidewalk.
Yes,
Is that?
yep, that's one of them, right,
Okay.
because there's no lighting in the green space.
but there's still a pole up on the hill.
That pole's going away. Oh, up on the hill? Oh, I think Alden's gonna take that away.
Yeah, that's the intention.
Yes, his intention is to remove that pole.
Yeah. And Jim Garthwaite would like to remove the pole by his house, but that has no lights on it. Okay.
So are we gonna have a prep time for the meeting? Because I think we need to be prepared to talk about what happened with the lighting and so on.
Yep.
You know,
I think-
how are we going to explain that?
Right. I think there are 3 topics we need to be ready for. One is the land conservancy of the Pohl property. The second, the lighting. Those are the 2 articles. And the third is just the overall, making sure we understand the budget.
Policing.
Oh, policing.
But I mean, it's one of the major components of that.
I would think the Conservation Commission is going to be doing most of the talking about.
So I think that'd be
Yeah.
reasonable if they can bring Yapa Valley Land Trust first.
So should we look at the first meeting in February to start drilling down, or should we wait till the second meeting?
If you always do it early because you don't know what you're gonna run into.
There's a lot of loose ends on some of these things.
I have a meeting this week with Tom Marsh, and I could bring up asking where his proposal is, and can we expect one before town meeting?
Yeah, absolutely. Every little,
Be
every
careful,
little push.
please.
Just asking for where the proposal is.
There's some tension between, Tom Yannerall talks about some tension down there. I don't know where it's coming from.
Just gonna,
But I mean, they're either gonna do it or they're not gonna do it. They probably know the answer. They're either gonna submit or they're not. And if they're not, just leave it alone.
they may not understand our predicament and the urgency by which we need to get some written proposals, because we're gonna have a pretty difficult time justifying the amount we have in the budget without a proposal. Like we're gonna be at, so what are we gonna say to them? Well, we looked at what it cost West Windsor. So that's not a great argument to be able to make, so,
I'm with you.
you know.
Okay, then to look back on potential agenda items, Martin, would you like Rita know that we're going to draft this letter?
Mhm.
And to ask her for a summary before
Oh,
our first meeting, so that we know what's happening.
Yes.
At least on the telephone poles. And then we'll continue to work with Tom and Rob so that for that meeting, we know what we're releasing. And what's our fallback if we don't have something.
So do we actually have lighting proposals with costs?
We have some decisions to make, which would influence the cost. Do we buy poles or lease poles from Green Mountain Power, or do we go to a third source for light poles? Pat Travers his firm has been working with a few other places, and I have references to call in Bristol, Vermont, and I forget who else he has sort of said. So to get some other options.
Well, again, I think we're gonna need costs before time meeting.
I think it's hard to present a case for money if you don't have something concrete. Right?
Yes.
And in these, in the policing case, fully supportive of it. And in the lighting case, partially supportive of it. If I haven't seen a proposal, how can I go to town meeting and say, yeah, vote for this? I can't.
On my list that I sent to John, the new town manager, lighting is on there. And I explained to him that there's a lot of.
And that's good. But, all the things he's got to get done, I don't see that as being a priority on his.
And I think I agree with Jim. I think that, can we have Tom Yannerall work with you and see if he can hound people?
Okay. I'm trying to step out of it.
Well, just to bring Tom up to speed, or Tom and Martin or someone.
Yeah.
But I agree with Jim. I think to have John come in here cold,
He's going to be
starting
starting
in
to
1st of February. We're saying at least 2 to 3 weeks for him to get up to speed. It gives us like a week before time meeting.
Well, it would have to be a cooperative effort.
Well, but my point is,
Yeah.
because I think
that.
there's gonna be a lot of sensitivity about these costs, and if we can't justify the costs.
In the worst case scenario is, if we're not ready to take some from the voters this year.
Boy, I don't want to wait a
Table it
year
for a year.
without lighting.
Oh, I came out of the Hartland Community Arts holiday concert, and that was a dark night, and the intersection was scary. Just
Yeah, I've driven through here when it's pretty late.
I agree.
And
I
overcast.
agree some lights need to be out there.
Yeah.
Just a scope and scale issue.
Okay. Anything else?
No. Do you think we're gonna get everything done in 2 meetings before town meeting?
Well, if we have to add one, we can add, but
You're no better after the 5th.
yeah,
I'll know better after.
so there's no meeting next week.
After a 5th, yes.
Let's have another meeting.
Or we have another meeting next week.
No, we've already had.
I know we've had a lot. I'm not looking for more meetings. We usually go every 2 weeks, and
Right,
this was an interim meeting.
this was an interim meeting. So 29th would have been a third Monday, and we would not have met.
Yeah.
I like you guys and women and sort of everyone. So we could have.
No, I'm not looking for another meeting. I just want to make sure that no more surprises, because I didn't know we were having this meeting till about 5 or 6 days ago.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, you were
So I
told
think-
at the last select board, last week's
I
meeting
think what we're saying is we'll revisit on the 5th. If we think we need to put a placeholder in front of the meeting,
for the 12th.
we'll have the 12th or the 26th.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Or you
But
have
I
that, or you
think
have
we-
the one the night before.
We need to get Tom Yannerall engaged,
At a meeting.
just in general, as we've discussed, and his role.
Yep, yeah. besides-
So we
besides
really
that,
need to
I got
get,
that written down.
we really need to get costs.
Yep.
I mean, do we want to invite him?
Well, he doesn't have anything to tell us, but I think we just,
No, I heard, you want costs? I'll get the breakdown of the lighting project.
Does he need any type of a scope from us as to, or do we just want to leave it with us?
think we did a not to exceed at one of our meetings, didn't we, with him for the stuff?
Yeah, we did. We did. So just saying, you know, get a contract and we'll define the scope later on.
Oh, we have a contract. Do we ever get a contract
I believe we do.
for this new
Yeah.
role?
Oh, for this new role? No, I don't think you ever did a contract for the new role.
We just do an
We
amendment.
refreshed, we did 2 contracts the second
You
time.
refreshed the second one, yes.
I thought we did another contract for this new role
We,
outside of,
I thought we
because
did,
his rate is different and everything else.
right.
Oh, right, yes, yep, you're correct. There is,
So
yes.
I think,
Yep, you do have the other, I don't know what the total of that is. I'll look that up.
yeah, I'm not, just having the contract.
Yep.
All right.
A lot of work out there. Thank you, Cheyenne.
I sent
There's a
you,
motion.
Oh, perfect.
let me know if you got it.
You have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in
A
favor?
new world land record.